Hi, I'm Claire. I'm not an RV expert, but I'm here with Chris, a certified RV technician. If you're a new RVer or you just need a refresher on the holding tank valves in your RV, then this video is for you.
We're going to be walking you through the different settings which you can set your RV valves to in order to use them the most effective way possible. We are not going to be going into how to dump the holding tanks, but we do have an additional video on that, and we'll put that down in the link below.
A couple ground rules before we start. Number one, your education is our priority. And number two, we are not here to talk down on any brands.
Yep, we're gonna teach you something today, so let's get started. RV holding tank valves can be located in a variety of places around the RV. For travel trailers and a lot of Class C RVs, they tend to be on the exterior of the RV, down low, usually towards the back of the RV. On some larger fifth wheel or Class A style RVs, they may be behind a panel which you open up in order to access a wet bay, and that's where all of the valves would be located at for this style of RV. The purpose of holding tank valves is very straightforward. They are meant to keep waste liquids and waste inside of the holding tank area, and they are also meant to slide out of the way when it is time to dump the contents of either the gray or the black tank. Most RV waste tank valves operate the same way in that there is a knife valve on the inside which will slide out of the way. What makes them different is that some of them are operated manually, as in it has a short handle that you will pull in order to move the knife blade out of the way and let the contents flow out of the holding tank. Some of them are a little bit more remote in that you still use a manual pull and it is connected to a cable because the knife valve itself is at a further away location than a short actuator stick would be able to reach. And then there are some which are fully electric. So though these knife valves operate the same way, you would be actuating a button which will turn a motor, and that will move the knife blade out of the way in order to dump the contents of the holding tank.
Wow, there's so much more to holding tank valves than I thought. Can you explain how they work with different camping styles?
Definitely. When it comes to operating the holding tank valves and deciding whether to leave them open or closed, the best way to put this is that it comes down to the style of camping which you are doing out on that trip. If you are boondocking, the best way is to leave all of your holding tank valves in the closed position for the duration of the camping trip until it is time to dump the contents at an approved dump station. If you are at a full hookups campground, then the positions of the holding tank valves are a little bit different. You will certainly want to leave the black water holding tank valve in the closed position for the duration of the camping trip unless it is time to dump its contents at the campsite. The reason for this is that if you were to leave the black water holding tank valve in the open position, all of the liquid inside of it would run out, and it would leave behind all of the paper and solid waste in the tank, and this is the perfect recipe for a clog. For the gray or galley holding tanks at a full hookups campground, you can actually leave these valves in the open position. Just make sure that you have placed a P-trap bend in your sewer discharge hose with some water in the P-trap. This will allow for water to flow out of the RV, but will still have a vapor barrier in between the RV and the sewer discharge port in order to keep odors at bay. Leaving the gray or galley tank valves open can be a bit of a luxury in that it just allows all of the liquid and water to flow directly through the tank and out into the sewer port. This is nice because then you will not need to worry about it filling up the tank and potentially overflowing it. And this is especially helpful if you have a RV washing machine or dishwasher installed, and it will allow all of that water to flow directly out and into the sewer port. If you are leaving the gray water holding tank valve in the open position while camping at a full Hookups campground, there's really no need to worry about snakes or rodents getting into your RV through the discharge port. It's just not something which we've ever experienced. Same thing with many of the technicians that we work with. It really just doesn't come about. It is a good idea to have that water inside of the sewer discharge pipe though, which will act as an additional odor barrier and could protect you from having sewer flies, which might be inside of the campground's septic systems. And those may be able to work their way up the sewer discharge hose, but will typically stop at the water in the P-trap. When staying at a full Hookups campground, it is a good idea to close the gray water holding tank valve the night before you are planning to break camp and leave the campground. The reason for this is it will allow water to build up inside of the gray water holding tank. That way in the morning when you go to dump the black water holding tank, you will have adequate water inside of the gray tank to rinse out the hose once you have dumped the black water holding tank. At the start of this video, we discussed the legality of using some of the RV holding tank valves. What we mean by this is that it is illegal in most states to open dump the contents of a holding tank valve or to drive down the road with the valves open on your RV. Be sure that you only dump the contents of your black, gray, or galley tanks into an approved dump station or the sewer discharge port at a campground. Always obey the law and try to be as good of a neighbor as possible so that you can continue having great camping adventures.
Thanks, Chris. We have a lot of helpful information, like how to deal with sewer flies, on our blog, The Line of Duty. The Line of Duty also is a private Facebook group where we love to answer your questions and have discussions around all things RV wastewater systems. And thanks for watching this video. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments. And again, if you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe.
We'll see you on the next one, guys.